Hey, we got two people. All right, let me get this chat thing fixed up here. Live chat. What's up, guys? So I'm just going to do a little RC bashing here at our this little muddy track. No FPV today. It's been too windy, so I'm not gonna do any of that today. Plus, I just replaced some parts in this thing. I want to test it out. What are you guys into today? Almost the end of the year. One more day. I got people parked here doing God knows what. They probably think I'm a weirdo talking to myself. Alright. Turn this thing on. There we go. Alright. Let's turn this around. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about FAA. Let me situate this thing here somewhere that'll be good that we can talk and see. A 1/5 Baja 5B. Oh, gas power, huh? Sweet. Man, those things are messy. All right, let's turn this around here. I don't know what's. Maybe I'll see a little bit of the track here. Maybe I'll try to keep it over that way. We'll see. Oh, let's see here. Oh, it is muddy out there. Let me figure out how to get down there without getting in the mud. Trying to get. I don't want to get in all the yucky mud if I can avoid it. Let me get over there. Oh. Get over here on the main part of the track. Where y'all gonna sit? There we go. Now y'all can sit. I gotta dial the slipper clutch in on this thing a little bit. It's still probably a little bit loose. But it's not too bad. Come back over here. I missed it. Come on, there we go. So controlling this thing is kind of fun with two sticks. I don't know if you all have ever driven an RC vehicle with two sticks before. That's what I used to do all the time though, way back. So it's not too bad. You get adjusted to it. It's actually probably a little. Come on, don't be stuck. Come on. I don't want to go out in the mud. There we go. It is muddy out there. I don't want to be out there. Oh, that was a wreck. Ah. All right, let me wasn't watching where I was going. All right, let me see what you guys have been saying here. Let's see here. All right, live chat. A motocross. Yeah, I guess you'd have to for something like that big. No, not my track. This is just a bike skills track is what they call it for bikes of all kinds. And they built that here this year. They've still got some more work to do to it. It's still kind of a bit of a mess, but there's some more work that they want to do to it. And the idea is eventually to have RC stuff out here too. So it's pretty good for RC. It's not bad. I'm just terrible at driving. So what do y'all think about this FAA stuff? It has got me irritated. We've got to definitely do something. I was talking to my buddy who is generally an FAA advocate, we'll say. He tries not to see bad in everything like we do. And I mean, I get his point, you know, but even with this, he's like, you all gotta like band together and like get all these guys that are like being babies about stuff and just get it together and approach it from the standpoint that it's a different type of flying that we do versus what like the typical aerial photography drones. He says, he's like the drones like I fly, they're the problem. He has a Maverick, and he's like we're the problem because I get it. I got to kind of deal with it. He goes, but you guys are like flying below the trees and stuff, barely over a couple hundred feet. You shouldn't have those problems. Oops, stuck. Oh, don't hit that. Oh. I think something's messed up on there. Let me go. It's steering for some reason. I think I might knock something loose, maybe. Oh, this is a new mess. Let's see if I can get down here without getting too much mud. Let's see here. I gotta check my steering here. That's fine. Steering's fine. Okay, that was weird. That's just me again. Alright. We'll get down here in the mess. You'll see it from a different perspective. Here we go. Give you this perspective. Let's see. What is it? Oh. Oh, I need to adjust that thing. Oh, why is it beeping at 3? I must have hit the button on this thing. I love that beeping. Let's reset this here. 38. Should be like about 3.6. There we go. That's a little better. Ooh, that thing is muddy. Thank you, Mary Canuck. My ears are bleeding. Yeah, he's loud with that beeper. I had to turn off the protection on it because the protection on this ESC includes some other stuff, some other types of protection that was causing me problems. So I turned it off and I put a beeper in it. Plus, I like to know before the battery's gonna go dead. I don't want it just like killing me and just stopping dead on me. Come on, get out of that. To your right, Stacey. There we go. Still on the one. I don't like this track. Oh, right in the middle. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. See it? Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. I'm going to turn away this a little bit so you can see the mud jump, land in the mud over there. Alright, we'll come around when these girls jump in that mud. It's kind of cool. see if I can get, oh, not go that way. Oh, that is mud over there. Oh, that is a muddy mess. Oh, I missed something. Do it again. Oh, right through some mud over there. We had a lot of rain, been a lot of water. I can get a little better at this. I gotta quit turning so much. I'm over-correcting. Oh! Alright, let's see, what are you guys talking about here? Oh, did you really, Mike? That's cool. Yeah, I did too. I had a Futaba attack, 2-channel attack radio is what it was called. Yeah, no steering wheel. That's all I'm controlling it with. So, steering and throttle and steering also. I got steering on both sides. One's a little stronger than the other, so I can kind of mix them. It's kind of interesting, but it works pretty well for me because I'm used to using both sticks to steer with the drone, so it kind of works for me for doing that. Oh, that was terrible. All right, let's try this again. Come around here, say, quit oversteering. Oh, you're getting a little better. Ah, I missed my. Oh, that's a mess over there. That is a mess over there. Oh, really? I think my battery must have been a little low or something. I've got it set on 3.6, it should be alright. So I should jump it right there for you guys, right in front of you, shouldn't I? Alright, let's do that. This will be cool. Alright, I want to jump it right here, right towards you. That'll be cool. Alright, let's see how this goes. With the beacon on. Let's turn the beacon off. Alright. This should be fun. Alright. Why does it keep doing that? The battery's not that low. I think this beeper is like shot. Ah, quick. Oh, there we go. This beeper's shot. Oh, it's not reading right voltages. It was off. Now shut up. Not reading right voltages. All right. All right, let's see about jumping this thing. All right, bring it back around. All right, let's see here. How can I get this right? I gotta do this right here. All right. Boom. I don't know if I wasn't shot or not. Let me do it again. Oh. All right, let's get this all the way in shot here. Let's back up where y'all can see it all the way in shot. There we go. All right. All right. Like that now. Oh, I didn't get a good. All right, do that again. All right, let's get a better run at that here. Hang on. All right. Ah, fool, I'm stuck. That was probably a better jump. Let's try that again. See if I can get a little better from over here. Man, my shoes are muddy. All right, come around. Oh, pretty good. Oh. Hope you guys can see those jumps there. Alright, let's try this again. Let's see. Let's come around this way up to this one. That's pretty good actually. Get off this stick. Get off the stick. Ah! Stick with sticks. Alright. I think I knocked my battery loose. Knocked something loose. Oh. Yeah, I knocked my common sense loose. That's what you get for driving flying drones all the time. I was pushing on the wrong stick to try to go forward. That's terrible. Let's see if I can get, oh, don't turn stuck again. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Oh, I think I might have tripped something. That's not good. Oh, I think I got a gear stripped. That sucks. I'll have to check it and see. Well, that'll end in that. Let's go ahead and get this thing up here. I'll have to check it when I get home. Either I knocked the motor a little bit loose and the pinion's not making good contact there, or I stripped the spur gear, maybe. I'll have to take the cover off of it and look at it and see. Oh, what's going on there? And see, but for now, we'll turn it off. Turn that off, turn this off. All right, let me put this over here, guys. All right. All right, guys, let me flip you back around here. All right, turn it back around. Ha ha, there I am. All right, close this down. Up here by myself, that's kind of cool. All right. So anyways, that was kind of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of that bashing there. Terrible as I am at it. So anyways, let me see what all you can say in here. Let's see here. Yep. Always spur gears. I gotta look and I need to get some new ones. The problem is this thing is old. It's, you know, it's 21 years old. So getting parts becomes fun. You have to find things that will retrofit. Thankfully, some of the stuff works between some of the newer models and this one. I have to go look at it and see. I have to go to the hobby store and stuff and see what they've got to find something that'll match up with it. So if I did strip the spur a little bit there, which I think that's what I did. So we'll see. Anyways, that was fun. That's also why I generally don't bash them too hard. I'm not one to want to break stuff, but you know, it was a little fun to do. So I got my 6S batteries in. If you've been following my Instagram, you saw that. Got my 6S batteries for my my long range setup. And you've probably seen some pictures of it. All up weight, I'm waiting on some battery straps that I ordered. I need some new ones. So all up weight on it is just under a kilogram. 1100 kV motors running on 6S 7-inch props. will generate ridiculous amounts of thrust. By my guesses from some thrust tests that I've seen from it, it'll probably hover maybe 20% throttle or something. I don't know, maybe 30% throttle on that setup. Should cruise nice around 40%. So it should get pretty good flight time. And that's a 6S 1550 milliamp packs. So should get some really good flight time, I'm hoping, based on weight, thrust, and all that kind of stuff that I've kind of guessed. But we'll know whenever I actually fly it. I've got the GPS stuff all set up with it. So I've got to do tests on that. It's getting all the data nice. All that looks good. I've just got to do tests on the rescue stuff. So I've got to go out, probably in a couple of days, I'll go out to park that's a few miles from here. That's got a big open place. You've probably seen some of the videos from there, Meadowwood. So a big open flat area. I want to just kind of run and test it and see how well the GPS rescue stuff works, and just kind of test it out and see how the range and stuff is with it. Should be kind of fun. Let's see what you guys are saying there. Whoops, live. Hey, Bill. Thank you, sir. It's a good birthday. Yeah, I don't. It's the 250 thing. I mean, even that is that big jump in the back there. I'm going back to the comments. I've hit that big jump, but it's kind of hard to line up. And then right on the right hand side, if you don't hit that just right, you're in the creek. You go over the bank and you're down in the creek. So that wouldn't be any fun. Yeah, this thing only does 3S2, and I'm just running 2S because I'm not going to push it. Yeah, I think that buzzer got wet and got messed up. Let's see here. But yeah, the whole 250 thing, I'm not even sure that that's going to be okay. Just the way that I've been reading it, it's iffy. At best, you can read it a couple of different ways. I need to go through the law a little bit more. That rule that they proposed, I need to dig through it a little bit closer and see. In one respect, it sounds a lot like. See, they make an exemption at the beginning. They're like, these are the ones that have an exemption from this rule. But really, it's not really an exemption. It's an exemption from having to have remote ID. It's not an exemption from all the rules. And that's the only place that that 250 is listed as an exemption. Everywhere else, all the amateur stuff is basically restricted to those FRIAs. So the FAA registered identification areas, right? So that kind of makes me think that those even fall under there. It's kind of a gray thing. I've got to read a little closer and stuff. It's, typical lawmakers, the way they write stuff is all gray, so they can make it mean whatever they want it to mean. So, I don't know. It's a mess. But I mean, if that rule goes through as it is, it basically pretty much ruins everything. I mean, it ruins commercial work for doing like video stuff. And what I mean is, like, you couldn't fly like Johnny FPV, Mr. Steele, all the work that they've done, they couldn't do, because you can't custom build your drones and fly legally under that rule. The only ones that can fly in non-FRIA areas are the ones that have been built by the manufacturers that are approved by FAA. That's a big problem. And then, the thing with the AMA, so the AMA said, hey, look, yay, we got our flying fields, but really they didn't. They're not approved. There's been people out there saying, oh yeah, all the AMA fields are approved. No, they're not. That's not the way that works. They have to apply for it, and they have to apply for it within the first 12 months. And then after that, no more can be applied for or approved. And then get this, after 48 months, they have to reapply. So they have to renew those things. And it's up to the discretion of the FAA if they're going to reapprove those or not. They might not. They might approve some, and they might not approve all of them. And later in the thing, there's language that they basically say that they expect that there will be no drones flying within X number of years, I forget what it was, flying, that don't have remote ID. So that basically means all amateur aircraft will not be flying. That's their goal. That's their intent. That's the intent of this rule. Now, that's not the FAA. That's this rule that the FAA is going along with. They went along with whatever this committee came up with. And this committee, of course, is comprised of a bunch of commercial interests who want to fly their commercial delivery stuff. You know, that's great. Great. You want to have your commercial delivery stuff. That doesn't mean that we should be stepping on people's hobbies. That's the big problem with all of this. And they're just kind of going along with it and not thinking about it. And the people that are at the table, even the ones who don't want the hobby to go away or don't want any of the model aviation hobby to go away, aren't seeing the repercussions that this will bring. And that's the problem. It's all about money, not about money from us. You know, there's people, oh, they're just trying to tax us, blah, blah, blah. No, that's really not. It's not about that. It's about the lobbyists that are greasing the palms of the congressman. So that's always the problem, is the lobbyists. You know, man, if we could get rid of the lobbyists and everything, things would be much better. So the only way we're going to fix this is we have to get the word out to the congressmen. We need to make them aware that this is not good, and it's not good for their livelihood as far as being congressmen, because they're going to get voted out if they push this stuff through. So, I mean, there's still time to change it. So you've got, the first is when it's supposed to be published, and then from that point there's 60 days for public comment, and we need to be making a public comment, well written, well thought out, addressing all of the points. You know, not just, this is terrible, blah, 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 you know, I hate you, I'm not going to follow this rule, you can't make me. That's not going to solve anything, you know. And then after those 60 days, there's like another 18 months of reviewing all of this stuff and then revising this rule, and then finally it'll go into effect. And then there's like a 3-year period after it goes into effect that you have before you have to actually be fully compliant. So it's a good 4.5 to 5 years out before, you know, it matters. And by that point, God knows what's going to happen. I mean, look how much the industry has changed in the last 2 years, let alone the next 5. So there's a whole lot of things that can happen between now and then. But yeah, I mean, and for the people who are like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and fly and do whatever I want to. If you're like, you know, in the middle of nowhere and there's no people around, then yeah, that's probably no problem. But as the rule stands, this stuff's going to be public. And so Joe Public, like in my case, I have this one fellow, he hasn't commented on me and my stuff in a long time. But he lives just like about 2 blocks from me. And he's made numerous comments about, you know, flying my drones, and, you know, in a very negative light. And if this law were to go into effect and I was flying and he decided to be a pain in the butt, all he would have to do is say, oh, you're flying and you're not flying at a FAA register identification area. You're flying over at the park. Well, that's illegal unless your drone has remote ID. And let me find you on the map. Nope, you're not on the map, so you don't have remote ID, or it's not working, so you shouldn't be flying. And so he calls up, you know, Joe Schmo, the police officer, who just got hired on, and, you know, he's looking to make a name for himself. And so he decides to come over there and give me a lot of grief. And so then I can't fly, and then I get harassed. And then, you know, that's kind of where that goes. You know, in some areas, you know, the law enforcement are going to be cool about it, and they're not going to be pains in the butt if you're not causing problems. And, you know, but there's going to be areas like when I went down to Myrtle Beach and we were flying and not causing any problems. And we had, you know, this lady who, you know, oh, she's the tough guy. And so she goes and kicks us out of flying in this, you know, empty field next to a hotel because some stupid people decided to complain, and we weren't even near them. So, you know, I mean, that's where this stuff can go. The problem with this is not just getting kicked out. This would be like maybe getting hauled to jail or getting a $10,000 fine, or, you know, whatever. I don't know. It could be terrible. I mean, federal stuff. So you got, you know, federal violations are not pretty. So it's bad. Really bad. And we definitely need to do something about it. All I can say is contact congressmen, you know, leave public comment there for the FAA, you know, well thought out, well addressed. I'm going to try to put something together, and I'm going to put it out. I'll probably make a video with it, put my thoughts and everything together, and, you know, you guys can see it. And if you want to use that kind of as a jumping off point, you know, feel free. But I'm definitely going to do that. And I'm trying to get the word out to as many people as I can to say, hey, you know, we need to do something about this because it's bad for all model aviation. Not just the FPV guys, not just, I mean, as the rule stands, the way I read it anyways, I mean, you can't even fly indoors. I mean, you're flying a drone and it doesn't have remote ID. I mean, maybe you could fly indoors. I don't know. But it doesn't really specify that. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know how you read it. But I mean, this ruins drone racing unless you're flying at AMA fields, and then that's assuming that the AMA fields stay around. And a lot of the AMA fields are not owned; they're leased. So the owner could be like, I'm done. You know, you need to go find somewhere else to fly. And if they do that, and it's after the 12 months, you can't apply for another one, and so your field's gone, and that spot's gone. And then, you know, or the FAA could just decide, nah, we're not going to let you fly here. We don't like that one. That's in the path of blah, blah, blah. You know, Amazon drone delivery needs that spot to be able to fly across there because that's the most efficient for them. And so you're in the way, so we're not going to approve that one. I mean, it could get bad with this stuff. You know, I don't know. We definitely need to do something. But let me see what you guys are saying there. I've been rambling for too long. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely look into it, man. You can go watch those other videos of mine, and I've got links in the descriptions for, you know, where to look that stuff up at. And then whenever they make the stuff available for public comment, I'll post a link to that as well with a video. Oh, well, that's true. We're not, but here's the problem, Wiccan. So while we're not necessarily flying, you know, following all the rules right now, enforcing it's much more difficult now than if this law were in effect. Like I was saying, if this law goes into effect, then, you know, the police officer can pull up on their thing to see if you are flying legally or not. Are you flying a drone with remote ID or not? If you're flying a drone with remote ID, then you're going to be fine. You're not going to, no issues whatsoever. If you're not flying a drone with remote ID, which is all of us, then the problem will be that they pull it up, you're not showing up. If you're not at a FAA registered identification area, if you're not one of those areas, then you're flying illegally and you could be fined, put in jail, whatever, you know, I mean, whatever the consequence would be, I don't know. And that's the real problem with this stuff. As it is now, you know, the people knowing about flying more than 25 milliwatts, and that's kind of really not really accurate either. It has nothing to do with the wattage. It has to do with the frequencies. So, you know, if you're not flying with a ham license with your video, if it's not, and it really don't have anything to do with the wattage, it has to do with the equipment being FCC certified. So if the equipment's FCC certified, then you are more than fine flying with it. So for instance, all the TBS stuff is FCC certified, so you can fly with it, provided you don't unlock it. If you unlock it and you use the stuff that's unlocked, then you have to have your ham license, but you can fly it without it. And it has nothing to do with the wattage. That's just where it's been certified at. If they certified it at higher wattages, you could fly it at higher wattages, but they're not certified on higher wattages. So nothing to do with the wattages. It has to do with, you know, FCC certification on that. So, I mean, yeah, so we're not flying with that. And the vast majority of us don't fly with spotters. So, you know, that would be, you know, against the AMA rules, which we're supposed to be following the community-based organization rules, but that's even more gray. You know, I mean, and you're supposed to fly with them visual on site. What's that really mean? Does that mean if I was looking at it, I can see it? I think it's what it means. But, you know, if I have to actually look at it, you know, then, you know, all FPVs outlawed, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. And then, so for the guys with 107, you know, this stuff's not going to matter. This stuff's going to, you know, their whole 107 means squat, because all they'll be able to fly is remote ID stuff. You can't fly whatever you want just because you have your 107. That don't mean diddly squat. So yeah, this thing, it's a big mess. I'm just hoping that some common sense prevails and some things change. What I don't know is, you know, I know they want to have remote ID. Here's the problem, and I appreciate the fact that they recognize that not everybody's going to have it and not everybody needs it. The problem is this whole, you got to be flying at these particular areas. You know, I don't see why they can't just continue the whole Lance thing and say, hey, here, you know, report your location here with Lance to make sure that you're going to be out of air traffic way. I mean, that's what would make the most sense. Now, would everybody follow that? No. You know, just like everybody's not going to follow this, but there's going to be people, if this goes through, there will be people that will be put in jail or fined heavily. But, you know, the Lance thing will be the way to approach it, I think. You know, the remote ID is not going to go away. So the people that want it to go away, it's not going to go away. And, you know, for the commercial drone stuff, it needs to be there. And I fully get that. For the fully autonomous stuff, it needs to be there. So, you know, anyways, my battery is about to die. It just keeps popping up warnings. So I better get off of here. You guys have a great day. Thank you for the birthday wishes. And let me know your thoughts. You know, put some comments on this whole FAA thing and everything else. And I will see you guys later. Have a good one, guys. Peace.